Here we go, Brown. Here we go. Yeah, this for my dogs from the east to the west side. You rockin' brown and orange with me, baby. Let's ride. Represent the land, let them know. Tell them, here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Join the Dog Pound on the road this season with True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Travel to stadiums across the country with other Browns fans and experience the games like never before. This trip includes everything: a private charter flight, hotel, an all-inclusive tailgate, game tickets, boat party, transportation, and more. Cheer on the Browns in New Orleans and party with Cleveland Browns legend Kevin Mack. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Ali Hyson, coming to you live from Pensacola, Florida. As always, joined with me out in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, we've got Dustin. Dustin, what's going on?
You know, Ali, it's years like this that you just remember why it's so damn hard to be a Cleveland fan. Just, about an hour ago, the Cleveland Guardians couldn't buy a run in Detroit, so they're down 2-1. Our Browns on Sunday. Cavs are going to be playing here soon. But I got to tell you, it is to being a Cleveland fan is not for the faint of heart, because it takes a lot of I won't even say patience at this point. It just takes something to become a Browns fan.
It takes more than patience. It certainly takes courage. That's for damn sure. It takes
courage.
Some intestinal fortitude. It takes a lot.
Perseverance might be another word. The persecution we get from other fan bases. I mean, the list can go on and on.
The list goes on. But nonetheless, guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. We've got a fun show for you tonight. We have Kevin Mack, Cleveland Browns legend, joining us here in just a few moments. I don't know about you, Dustin, but I'm excited to get his perspective on the current state of the Cleveland Browns. I know if you're joining us tonight, I would anticipate you are frustrated, right? You are a frustrated Browns fan. Just know this is a safe place. Air out your grievances. Let's talk about it. There's plenty to talk about. So let's kick it off. Before we do so, quick word from our friends over at Stadium Mustard. Guys, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, it's beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard rich in both taste and tradition. And by the way, it's loved by millions. So be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Before we get into Browns news and updates, the biggest talking point in the National Football League right now is the Jets move on from Robert Saleh. They relieve him of his duties. Essentially, they fired him, and he was escorted out of the facility by the director of security. That's not nothing. So, what do you make of that?
Well, I watched a little bit of Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee today, right? Like, he's like, "Hey, we're still friends." I think it sounds like he was surprised by that move. The Jets are quick to make moves. I mean, they aren't shy about making decisions. They've not been the most successful franchise like the Browns over the last couple of decades. So I don't know, for whatever reason, they felt that the players weren't getting buy-in, as I'm assuming that's what the organization and the GM thought. And, he hasn't had the best record at the Jets, but it was interesting. Blake Williams and Greg Williams both coached over there in New York. And they also said, he doesn't have the best situation. He's went through multiple quarterbacks over there. He's had multiple situations that are a little bit out of his hand. So I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad coach, but I think it's just the wrong fit. I think it's the wrong fit for him, to be honest with you. I just don't think he was going to be successful from the get-go based on the certain. And we've seen that in Cleveland. They'd rotate through coordinators and head coaches here like it was like a new franchise coming into town. So, I mean, a new restaurant. Hey, here's a new restaurant down the street. Here's a new head coach, right? So, yeah, I don't think he had the best. I don't know. I think I'm not saying he got a raw deal because he was there multiple years and he kind of reached his kind of, he was already kind of on the hot seat, I think, going into the season. So, I don't know. I think it was a wrong fit for him because I don't think he was given a lot to work with.
Hard to say it was a raw deal when you are coaching Aaron Rodgers, because on any team that you have Aaron Rodgers, the anticipation is that you make a deep postseason run. Clearly, that hasn't happened. Obviously, last year with the injury. This year it's just been underperformance. But I don't know. It's hard because you bring him in as a defensive head coach. That's what he was. He was the defensive coordinator in San Francisco. He was very, very good at it. And one thing about this Jets defense is it was performing quite well.
Right.
But then you have him come in and say, hey, you've got to make a decision at quarterback. And they go with Aaron Rodgers. And what we know about Aaron Rodgers is similar to, Deshaun Watson in some senses, not all senses, let's be clear about that, but in some senses that he is polarizing. And a lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. And right now, he's not playing great football. He has had some moments this season, but it hasn't been perfect. But I think somebody had to be held accountable, and it was Robert Saleh. I'm shocked, honestly, that Nathaniel Hackett is still in New York. I know that's Aaron Rodgers' guy. Right now, it just seems like this is the Aaron Rodgers show, that he is getting what he wants, and that's kind of the end-all, be-all. So that's what it seems like. I am curious, though, now that he is the first one out on the season, Robert Saleh is the first head coach out, if we will see this kind of, snowball a little bit throughout the NFL, if we're going to see other coordinators, head coaches on underperforming teams, the Cleveland Browns, if anybody will be relieved of their duties or make changes to who's calling the plays, or essentially just who's going to be held accountable. I'm curious to see if this is a bigger effect throughout the National Football League.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the past, it was always Black Monday, right? When coaches would get fired right after the season was over. And you bring up a good point, Ali. In recent memory, in recent seasons, it seems like some of these franchises are quicker to pull the trigger on a situation midstream. Obviously, we saw that even a few years back with the Browns and bringing in Greg Williams to finish out the season, right? Like about that mid. But it seems like teams are willing to be like, okay, this clearly isn't working this year. We need to make a change now and get a guy that's got buy-in, that people respect in the locker room, players, all that. And he can be our interim, and we'll go through a coaching hire in the offseason. I don't know. It seems like owners and GMs aren't afraid to do it as much anymore. Like before, it was like very uncommon, unless you're 0 or 1-3 or 1-7 at the midpoint of the season. Okay, we can't, if we keep doing this, we'll be 1-16. But I don't know. It's interesting because I just think there's more of that happening now than there was in the past. And I think GMs are a little more, I think they're a little bit more quick to judge in season than they are in the past. And I guess where I'm going with that is look how quickly they rush quarterbacks out there. I think, we'll maybe get into this, but I think there's a couple quarterback changes this week. I think the Raiders and another team have made, I think New England and some other ones have already said, okay, experiment's over. Time to put the new guy in.
All right. Perfect segue into what we need to talk about. I guess my question, I'm going to ask you bluntly, and I want you to answer bluntly, because we are not employed by the Cleveland Browns on this podcast. We can say whatever we want. That's the platform that we have. It's a show by the fans for the fans. So my question to you is, clearly nobody is happy. Fans, I'm sure the organization and the ownership are not happy with the current state of the Cleveland Browns. My question to you is, who is the first to be held accountable? Will they sit the quarterback? Will they move on from the offensive coordinator? Will they make a move at head coach? Who do you think is the first one to feel a significant change?
Well, I don't like to use this word, but I feel like the Browns are a little tone deaf. And what I mean by that is the national media, the entire world sees that the quarterback position is not working. I don't know if you saw this. You probably didn't, but it was very interesting. There was a defensive lineman, and I think it was Jones, he's for the Commanders. And he went on the radio, and he literally just said, he goes, all the physical attributes of Deshaun is there, but from the ears up, it's just, he's not, you know what I mean? He's just, the confidence is gone. And if that's gone, you can't fix that. You can fix mechanics. You can fix footwork. You can fix getting the ball out of your hand quicker. But if mentally you're not in the game, I'm sorry, Al, you can't fix that. That's not something that you can just fix. And if that's the case, I'm okay with putting a Winston in or DTR, someone that's, got a clear head, wants to win for this team or they wouldn't be there, right? We see Winston, he does his rah-rah things. He's a big-time kind of guy like that. But it frustrates me, I guess, in the tone deaf part, because they just keep rolling out with the same message. We're all making mistakes, the coaches, the players, but they aren't doing anything drastically different, right? Like, and even today's presser, I was like, yeah, they're gonna, Kevin Stefanski answered he's going to continue to do the offensive play calling, but that was kind of it. We didn't get any other big answers out of the organization today. And honestly, I think Dorsey will probably be the scapegoat. I mean, sorry, that was a long answer, but I think Dorsey will be. I think Dorsey will be the next to go. I think that they'll mid-season make a I don't know. That kind of feels like what'll happen, because this offense is dead last in the NFL. Yeah. And I think he's the easiest one that they can, let go.
Well, I don't think anybody anticipated that the Cleveland Browns, coming off of last season, the fireworks with Joe Flacco, would come into this season being dead last in offensive performance. I don't think anybody would have guessed that. Anybody would have had that, but that's the case. It's clear to me that this is not Kevin Stefanski's offense, and it's not. I mean, it's Ken Dorsey's offense, and Kevin Stefanski's the one calling the plays here, and it's not working. It seems to me that this is so complex that one, Deshaun Watson can't operate within this offense, and I think it's time to just draw it back significantly. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the answer is. But one thing that's not working, and it doesn't sit right, is in Kevin Stefanski's press availability. And I appreciate him saying, "Put it all on me," him being the one to take the accountability. I appreciate that, and I respect that as a leader. I genuinely do. However, when you are continuously saying that, but then going out the next week and doing the same thing, it's like, well, are we just saying that just to say it? Is it just fun to say? When is something going to change?
Yeah, it's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, and then it just continues to happen. So, like I said, there's a lot wrong here. We know there's procedural calls, there's penalties like that keep creeping up each week. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be offensive coordinator. I think that'd be the first move. But here's the thing: this isn't going to get easier for the Cleveland Browns going forward. They're 1-4. The Vegas line, by the way, I don't know if you saw this. The biggest Vegas line this week is the Browns game, and they have the Eagles favored by 8.5 coming off a bye week. I don't blame them for it. Right? That's a tough task to go into Philadelphia, a team that is playing decent coming out of the bye week, and you get your running back and all that. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has all that recipe for not good results. But this, Ali, we watch this football team year in and year out, and they lose the games they shouldn't, and they win the ones they shouldn't. So
they tend to do that.
So if they win on Sunday, I will not be shocked at all, because I'll be like, look, that's what they do. They go out and beat a team they shouldn't have beat, but they did. So
it's true. Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about Greater Cleveland Aquarium?
Yeah, guys, if you were in downtown Cleveland, go to the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. That shark tunnel there is super cool that you can go through with your kids, grandparents, field trips for your kids at school. Just a cool experience. You can go to and see many, many different exhibits there at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium there in downtown Cleveland. It's pretty cool.
While you're at it, talk about the Lady Caroline cruise ship.
Yeah, Ali, I got a chance to go on this Thursday before I went out to Vegas. By the way, you can go out there. You can do private charters on this boat. They have dinner cruises, lunch cruises. Those are kind of coming to the end of October. They actually have a big Halloween costume party, which I thought was kind of cool. You can go out on the ship and dress up and have a great time. But yeah, those are kind of coming to the end here near the end of October. But yeah, book your trips now or for next year on Lady Caroline. It's a fun ship that goes about 2.5 hours out on Lake Erie.
That sounds pretty cool to me. All right, we are going to bring on Browns legend Kevin Mack. Before we do so, a quick word, can't talk, from our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards. Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Mack. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How you doing?
Living the dream.
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question, Kevin.
That is very true.
How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good. Be
Yeah.
doing better if we had a win from last week. That's for sure.
I think we all would. I think we'd all feel a lot better. Not only, Kevin, to come away with a win, but for it to look right. I mean, in your perspective, there's a lot wrong with this team. I think there's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of people to blame. But in your perspective, what's the biggest issue here? What is wrong with this team?
It's tough to say. You see
Yeah.
so many things that happen on the field during the course of a game with these guys for the last couple weeks. It's just really amazing to believe that they even went to training camp. For me,
Oh, looks like we just lost him. Uh-oh, technical issues. Let's
He's
bring him
coming
back. There he is.
I
There
was
he
going to
is.
say, yeah, in the NFL, it's hard to start off fast and winning. Some teams do it, but usually, over the course of time, you can't do it year in and a year out. So, maybe it's just an off year for these guys, and they just need to go back and regroup and start all over from square one. I just kind of remember the year we were 3-13 here in Cleveland. I was playing. If you had asked me, it would have been the worst year of my life. But when you put it in perspective, we had won so many, seasons there before that season that we were kind of overdue for a little bad luck. So we had our little bad luck, and then we got back on the wagon and started all over again.
Kevin, let me ask you this. So we were talking about on a previous show, you were a leader, you were vocal in that locker room when you played for the Cleveland Browns. We've brought up on this conversation, like when you've lost 3 games in a row, right? When you're seeing procedural things happen, just mental errors happening out there. Is it advantageous for the leaders that are vocal in that locker room to have a players only type of meeting, no coaches, kind of just shut the outside world and say, hey, look, nobody's going to fix this except us in this room? Do you think there is some benefit to players calling a meeting like that?
Yeah, sometimes it is, and it has to be the right people doing it. From the outside, we look at guys and we think they're leaders on the team, and just like you mentioned.
Oh, lost him again.
That
We'll give him a
was
second.
weird.
He'll be right back. There he is. There he is.
Okay, I was one of the least vocal guys on the team, so you didn't have me try to tell guys, hey, we need to do this and we need to do that.
Right.
As a team, you pretty much know what you need to do. And when you start like this, you got to go back to square one and start over and do it even better, just so you're ready for the next game.
Kevin, you mentioned it didn't even look like this team went to training camp. And I think we can tell, in some instances that things just aren't right. But one thing that stands out to a lot of people, us included, is just the lack of discipline right now with this team. Besides all of the offensive struggles and all of that, besides all of that, the pre-snap penalties to put them behind the sticks. How do you correct that at this point in the season? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, guys have to concentrate, think about what they're doing. Back when I played, we took it more seriously as it being our job. I don't know how these guys think about how they're projecting on the field. Is it their job to do this, or are they supposed to be, professional about what they're doing? I don't know. I just know that, it's kind of tough to come out of if you don't go back to square one and start over and try even harder to correct the things that you're doing wrong. I think a big part of the problem that the Browns are having right now is no fault of their own, is that they have a lot of offensive linemen that are hurt that are really, cornerstones for their front.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
back in the day, you know, our coaches always told us it started up front, you know, and for me, the guys up front was where it started. If those guys can't get off and execute properly, then you're not going anywhere, especially if you're running the ball.
It's funny you mentioned that. We had Stump on, and he does a podcast under us now, Kevin, Stump Mitchell, and he brought up that exact same point. Ford's not going to be able to run. When Chubb comes back, he ain't going to be able to run. If that offensive line does not make openings for him, it will just be frustrating as all get out for Chubb and those guys, because if they don't have those blocks and get out in front, it's just going to be the same. I mean, it doesn't matter who you have it back, basically. If the offensive line can't come together, and you're right, for the last several weeks, it's been a hodgepodge of guys. I mean, I sat there at one point and watched the game, watched Joel Petonio over at left, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, it's like, this is crazy out here.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
back, when we talk about leadership I'm just curious, Kevin, when you were playing in your time, who were those vocal leaders in the locker room for you that kind of stood up and were those guys?
Well, we had quite a few over the years. The one guy that I remember probably more than anybody.
We'll give him a second. He'll be right back.
Hopefully.
I dropped you guys again, or what? I don't understand what's going on here. But yeah, Eddie was a big leader for us. He was actually a guy who went to school with Frank Minifield.
Okay.
But he was definitely one of those guys that kind of knew how to.
Nope, there he goes. Once more. I don't know, guys. He'll be right back.
It's got to be on his end.
There he is again.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. Sorry about that.
You're not in Florida, are you? No,
no. I'm actually on the second floor of my house, which I don't understand. I'm thinking I should get better reception up here, But yeah, Eddie was a real emotional leader for us, and he knew how to fire guys up when need be.
Okay.
So you mentioned the seasons, where you hang on. Before I ask this, we gotta wait for him to come back. We gotta wait for Kevin to come right back.
Really?
There he is. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. But we know as soon as you drop, you're coming right back. So we just pause the question because we know, Kevin, you'll be right back. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're still
the
conversation's still good.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, you made it. You were on some of those teams that struggled, and the teams that were due for bad luck, as you mentioned, that 3-13. When you were part of that, how was it difficult to keep your mind in a positive place, to still go out there and be motivated on every single snap, as a team, but also as an individual player? Did you struggle with that at all, or were you fired up on every single snap?
Yeah, and it's tough I think it's tough for anybody to go out and struggle through a season like that where you're only winning 3 games. Especially when you like win one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. You got a whole lot of losses strung in between. So it definitely plays on you as a individual. It also makes you look at, is there anything I can do extra? Is there anything I can do any better? Not just for me to be successful, but help my team be successful. Mm-hmm. Whether it's hanging back instead of releasing into a pass pattern on a block and play, and helping my offensive line out, because I know he might be having a tough time, or I see the guys beating him around the corner or something like that.
Yeah.
So Kevin, we look forward to the season. We have the Eagles this weekend. You've had big games in front of you when, like you said, you didn't have the most. And we'll wait for him to come back real quick.
We got him.
I'm gonna have to move. I cannot believe this.
The question was, Kevin, as you look to, when you didn't have, or your team was going through struggles, and you had a big matchup ahead of you that we were talking. You've got the Eagles coming up. You're almost 9-point underdogs. How did you get motivated for a game like that? Because it was going to be tough, and that team was going to be bringing their all, and you were going on the road. This team, I feel almost like it just has to get a win at this point, right, to kind of break that cycle. What kind of advice would you give to those guys that are out there, trying to – because we know this, Kevin, and you've been around a lot of teams over the last 25 years. Winning is just as infectious as losing is, and losing can become a disease and just continue to lose and lose, and win streaks can become very contagious as well. So what advice would you give to this current guys out there? Like what would your be encouragement to those guys?
Well,
this is awesome.
During the course.
This is the one for the books, guys. This is a good one.
All right. So during the course of their career, it's going to be ups and downs. They just got to remember that, hey, it's a tough game. You're not going to win them all. Right. And for you to be successful, you need to go out and perform at 100%, 100% of the time, whether you're winning or losing. And hope that, some of it rubs off on your teammates that, hey, this guy, he's busting his butt. He's giving 120%. I can do that,
Right. That's true. Yeah.
I want to
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dustin. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just want to talk about offensive efficiency, Kevin. That's something that we haven't really seen a lot this season. Now, Kevin Stefanski, previously, before we brought in Ken Dorsey, he was a big proponent of running the ball on first and second down. That way you're third and short. And that really has not been the case. Now, partially because of pre-snap penalties, maybe you've got 12 guys in the huddle, some things setting you back behind the line of scrimmage or behind the sticks. What alterations can be made to this offense to get more efficient offensively, to get to these third and shorts? Because, Kevin, as you know, this offense is dead last in the NFL right now. What changes, even small ones, can be made to make this offense more efficient? Let him think about that. See what he has to say. I'll let you think about that one.
I should have waited, right, guys? But I was gonna say when you have little nitpicking penalties that set you back, things like that. You're jumping off sides, stuff like that. That's concentration. You just got to concentrate. You got to think about the situation you're in, whether it's first down or third down, whatever, and just kind of run through your mind. Okay, on third down. Don't flinch. Yeah. So you just got to concentrate more, as I'm doing with this little flicker that we have here.
This is a good one. I like it. This is fun. Makes for a fun show. You know what? I needed a good laugh today. This is a stressful day, so we needed this after a nasty Browns loss.
So, Kevin, switching gears a little bit, one of our partners, True Fan Travel, speaking of something more uplifting and fun,
yes,
you get to go down to New Orleans. You get to go on the charter plane. Still tickets available for that charter plane, and we'll give them a moment to come back on.
But you can talk about True Fan Travel while we wait on them. There we go.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, True Fan Travel, True Fan Travel. It's kind of a tongue twister.com. Get your tickets there for that. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you guys are working with those, Kevin, to go down there and enjoy yourself. And they're doing a little party boat, a little thing, a little New Orleans style.
Yeah, they invited me down for the Saints game. After very little consideration, I said yes.
He's like, yes. Like, let me think about this. Yes.
Oh, this is. You guys want me to change my spot or what? This is.
You might try it. You might try it. Maybe closer to a window. I've always heard.
Well, the window's right in front of me right here, so this is the right.
Well, we've got it. We do have a funny comment here. This connection is as reliable as the Browns' offense.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? At least we can laugh about it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
We're making Kevin's night.
Uh, unreal. Unreal. This is good.
Okay.
This is good.
Are you?
I,
Hey, Kevin, are you on your phone or are you on your laptop?
I'm on my phone.
So I wonder if every time you're like, you know how your phone like goes to sleep or whatever, if every time it does that, if that's what's kicking it off. I don't know.
Okay. Let's try that. Let's see it. I'll
Yeah, maybe
hold it
just
for a little
poke.
while.
Yeah, just
There you
poke your
go.
phone every now and then. Maybe
There
that'll
you
do it.
go.
I don't know.
You know
We'll
what?
try
This phone
everything.
might go, that might make sense because your phone goes to sleep after a couple of
Yeah,
minutes.
maybe
true.
that's it. Maybe that's it. But anyways, True Fan Travel.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin
Yeah.
said he needed about 3 seconds to say yes, is what I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, when they asked me to do it, I first I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And then I actually thought about the fan cruise that we went on with folks last year, and I was like, you know what, that was a great time. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
as I say, I had a great time on that cruise. I think the fans really enjoyed that, you know, where you got to go around and mingle with all the fans and be more, you know.
Well, we thought we had the solution. We did. We thought we had it.
Wasn't it?
That wasn't it.
That was
We learned the hard way.
Oh.
This is classic. This is iconic.
Actually, you know what? If
So
that
you-
is your phone, Kevin, maybe not try Wi-Fi. That would be a suggestion,
I don't know.
because then it's just going off your data on your phone. That's
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know what the answer is, but
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying.
well, it's
now,
okay.
right?
We're towards the end. It's okay. I don't know, Kevin. This is a good one. This is a good one. But nonetheless, well, I'll get you out of here on this one, and we certainly appreciate your time, even though it's been choppy. What do the Browns need to do on Sunday to not only come away with a win, but at least come away looking halfway competitive?
That's a very good question. I would be a rich man if I had the answer to that. I think they need to go back. This goes back to
Stand by, everybody. You stay right there.
that first year we were 8-5, and it was we were 8-8. I'm sorry.
Remember that season?
You know, and we had an up and down season. But that whole year, he just preached to us that, hey, you know, we're gonna have some good games, got some bad games. You know, just keep grinding, keep, you know, just working at it. You know, and sooner or later, it's gonna come together for us. And for us, you know, it was tough because we were a young group of guys that were on the field. We would have some success, and then we run up against veteran teams, and we take a couple of big steps backwards.
Right.
But with him preaching to us that, you know, hey, just keep at it. You know, things are gonna fall in our way. We didn't realize how young we were.
Stay right there, everybody. You stay right there. Don't you wait. Oh, wait, this one's taking a little bit longer. This one is taking a little bit longer to get Kevin back on here. But what we're seeing here in the comments, come with an attitude. I think that's part of it, is these guys just seem so checked out and not dialed in. And what Kevin was just saying, concentration. It's the little details that matter. I think that's a big element, because I think a lot of us fans, yes, we want to come away with a win, but we also want this team to just look right. And if they can put together somewhat of a competitive performance and come away with over 20 points and over 300 yards on offense, I think we'll feel a lot better. Of course, we'll feel great if it's a win, because then we're still kind of in the conversation here. But I don't know, Dustin, just the little things like that really, really add up, and they matter.
Yeah, here's the other thing. I think he's going to a different place in his house. That's my guess.
Okay.
He was probably like, I'm done with this.
We'll give him a second.
Yeah, my question though, Ali, is he's back.
Oh, briefly.
Briefly.
Yeah, and he's out again. Onward.
What have we heard about Nick Chubb? Any word on Nick Chubb?
Looks like it's possible. Oh, wait, Kevin Mack. There he is. There he is.
I'm squirming in my chair now, guys, trying to make sure that we keep this.
It's all good.
Kevin, the question I was going to pose to you, obviously you attend most of the games, down at the stadium when you're in town. What's your outlook on Nick Chubb and his return, and what should the fans expect? We've talked about him probably being on a pitch count. He's not going to get a bunch of, heavy load to start when he comes back. But what's your prognosis says? It looks like he could be back in the next week or two.
I don't know. It's tough. It's kind of tough to say. He's had this injury before, and he seemed to rebound from it very well. Evidence is how he played for us. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what a guy's going to do coming off an exact same injury he's had before.
Sure.
And it's a major injury.
Right.
So, like everybody else, it's kind of a wait and see thing. I'd hate to try to make any kind of predictions on the guy.
Sure, of course, and it's hard to speculate. And I think obviously having an all-world running back like Nick Chubb back, and of course getting David Njoku back, it certainly doesn't hurt what this Browns team has going on. It's certainly going to be a positive influence. Even if he is on a pitch count, just getting him out there is going to be somewhat of a spark. I'm sure he's going to be motivated. I'm sure everybody else is going to be excited for him to be back out there, even if it is in a very limited fashion. I think even that alone is going to provide somewhat of a positive spin on what this offense can be. But going back, Kevin, let's go back 2 years, because last year he was injured most of the year. And in his ability as a running back, obviously he's one of the best in the league. We know that. We'll wait on him one more second to come back. We know that Nick Chubb is one of the best backs in the league. And just going back a few years, was he kind of masking some of these problems, or just because he's that good, or was this offense at one point, really, really moving?
What do you mean about masking the problems?
So if there was any issues, we can go back 2 years ago, and there were. We'll stand by on that.
I love how Ali just goes.
Here he goes.
Almost. But there were some issues on the offensive line with injuries, just like there was this year. But the difference between now and then is we had Nick Chubb, right? Obviously a different quarterback, but kind of a similar situation with some inconsistencies on the offensive line. But now you get him back. I guess my question was, during that time when the offensive line was in disarray, did a really, really good running back kind of mask some of those issues? We'll finish that question in just a moment. Did a really good running back just mask some of those issues?
It's possible. In my experience, that if you have a really good running back, and even though you might have a suspect offensive line here or there, over time, those things can correct themselves.
Sure.
Especially if when you're running plays and they're the same plays over and over and over again, you get a feel for the blocking scheme. You get a feel for how the guy's going to run the ball. So that should iron itself out over time, as long as you have the same guys in there consistently. But unfortunately, we haven't had that luck where we've had the same guys. When you have guys rotating in and out, guys getting hurt here and there, you have different people coming in and out, that really hurts you in the long run.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say this, Kevin. You bring up a good point about, or Ali, I just was going to ask Kevin on this, because, back in you didn't always have the best offensive line for you and Biner. And at times you guys were so successful, having those big seasons, like a 1-2 punch. But you didn't have the greatest offensive line. Like you said, sometimes great running games overcome that. Did you see a little bit of that in your playing days too? You guys didn't have the best blockers. You didn't have you didn't have a Thomas, the guys like future Hall of Famers and, guys like that. But it just seems like you guys overcame that as a team,
Yeah. Like I said before, it's like when we were put together, we were a really young team. We were basically learning the offense that none of us had ever really run before. We were all thrown in there together. I think most of us is like I was a first year guy. Ernest was a second year guy. I think our offensive lineman was like second and third year guys. So we were all young, and um, I think the offense was different before I got here. And when I got here with Marty, he basically wanted to run the ball, and that's what we practiced. That's what we practiced in training camp, every day in practice. Um, I mean, it's kind of amazing to me that, with the changes that I had as a player while I was here in Cleveland, that no matter who the offensive coordinator was or who came in as a head coach, our basic running plays stayed the same.
Yeah.
In the 9 years I was here in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Wow.
wow, that's true. You're right.
And that continuity, that stability, it really does matter. It really does, in the grand scheme of things. Most definitely.
I was just gonna say this, Kevin. I always joke about this. The Browns sometimes cannot draft a quarterback. They get in the way of themselves. But the one thing that the Browns have done really well since this inception in 1946 is they've got the running back position right most of the time over the last 6 decades.
That's true. That is true. I'm glad to hear that being part of that group. Yeah.
Hey, I agree with that.
Most definitely. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining us. I know it was a little choppy, but we appreciate your insight and your perspective nonetheless. It was great talking to you.
You have a good night.
All right, take care. Go Browns.
Okay, go Browns.
All right, that is Kevin Mack. That was a lot of fun. I know it was a little choppy there, but we had a good time talking to Kevin Mack there. Again, that interview was brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards. Go ahead.
Yeah, I say Becky brings up a really good point here. I was going to mention it, but in 1985, two 1,000-yard rushers. That's a big deal in the NFL when you have two guys that can rush for over 1,000 yards on the same team in the same season. So
yeah, yep, that's exactly it. Before we move on, Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about our friends over at Teresa's Pizza?
Teresa's Pizza, guys. If you don't have it, it's been around since 1969 in the greater Cleveland area. Mayfield Heights and University Heights. Go get your pizza. They have great college game day specials and any Sunday specials for your favorite teams, be it the Browns or whoever you root for on Sundays. Also, they have great lunches. And by the way, they're great for catering. Go to Teresa's Pizzas in Mayfield Heights and University Heights.
Yeah, there you go. Also, while you're at it, 5 Iron Golf. Friends over at 5 Iron Golf. Guys, whether it is storming outside or you're maybe a new golfer or you're just trying to get into it, head on over to 5 Iron Golf, hit their golf bays. You can play some really cool courses, get some drinks, get some food. It's inclusive golf for everybody. It's a lot of fun, so be sure to go check them out. Dustin, before we move on, one more sponsor read, and that is our friends over at City Barbecue.
Yeah, City Barbecue, guys, with 6 Northeast Ohio locations. We will be broadcasting in a couple weeks from one of their locations. Stay tuned for that to come out and get some great barbecue samples and stuff. That'll be a lot of fun. I mean, who doesn't like barbecue? But what I was going to mention, Ali, is next Wednesday we will be at 5 Iron Golf. And Ali, I haven't even told you this, but we are going to make it. I mean, it already fits. We're going to make it ladies' night, 5 to 8 p.m. All women get to golf on the simulators for free, 5 to 8. If you bring your significant other or the guy brings his gal, you both are half off. But ladies, we're going to make it a ladies' night, 5 to 8 p.m. next Wednesday. Come down, hit the ball, get ready for whatever. We got a couple, maybe a month left of outside golf, but you can always work on your game. They have great food, but come down, free golf, and we're going to have some prizes to give away as well. But that's next Wednesday. I'll be there broadcasting live with Ali at 7 p.m., but from 5 to 8, come down and get some free golf. So we'll be there 6 to 8.
There you go.
Kind of doing the show, kind of prep stuff. So
a couple of things we need to talk about, Browns fans. The Browns have made some moves. We've placed some players on IR. We've made some additions to the active roster. So let's go through that. The Browns, this is pretty significant, guys. They place long snapper Charlie Hewlett on the IR.
Friend of the program.
Yes, big friend of the program. They sign long snapper Rex Sunahara to the active roster. And that plays a really big role. One thing about Charlie Hewlett is he is one of the longest tenured Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, he is the
He is the longest tenure. So that's pretty significant. He has been with this team. He knows everything about the special teams. So that is very significant. I'm sure Rex will fill in just fine. But those are big shoes to fill. We have signed tight end Jeff Swaim back to the active roster, designated Maurice Hurst to return from IR. That's very helpful. That's very beneficial. Along with designating Muman Diabate to return from IR, also very impactful for this linebacking room. Two of which, Mo Hurst and Diabate, that can help stop the run. I know that has been kind of a bleeding problem for this Browns defense. We did sign safety Trey Dean to the practice squad, and defensive end Marcus Haynes to the practice squad. So some moves there, none of which, guys, I think are going to make or break this team. I think this team is already where they're at, but certainly it is optimistic to get help in the run game with Muman Diabate and Mo Hurst back, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, Maurice Hurst, like you said, that's a big time up the middle run block type of person. If we can get him back and he actually is activated for this week, hopefully that will help, because the Eagles do run the ball. They do have a running back that's really good over there. So hopefully that comes in the timing works out well. But man, this team, I don't know what to expect this Sunday, because I've watched. I feel like I've went back in time. I've watched 3 losses in a row now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, 2.
Yeah.
2, is it 2 losses or 3?
3. We've lost 3 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so many I lost count. But I feel like I'm going back to the. So Ali, this is gonna make you laugh, but this is so funny. Back when the Browns were like 5-12 or 6-10, or 5, back in those when they had. I literally would go watch the games, Ali, and this is how I mentally set my expectations. Are you ready? Which is crazy as a Browns fan. In a month, they're going to win at least one. Because, out of 4 games, they'll probably win 1. And then out of another 4, they'll like if you do the math, that kind of works out. I'm like, hey, at least they'll win 1 this month. I mean, in the month, they'll win 1. But yeah.
Yeah.
The 0-15 or the 0-16 and 1-15. That was a whole other animal. But
it was. But at the same time, one thing we said on last Wednesday's show that I want to reiterate, that is different with this team. 1-15, 0-16. Those were some of the toughest years as Browns fans. But not good talent.
Yeah.
Not good talent. It sucked. It wasn't fun. We all know that. I think that we can all agree those were the worst years to be a Cleveland Browns fan, obviously. However, one thing about those teams is they did play with heart. Those were guys that went out there week in and week out, and they played somewhat competitive football. They were just on the losing side of every outcome, except for that one against the Chargers on Christmas Eve. But everything else was, they were still in it almost into the fourth quarter. They were playing hard. They were playing with heart. They were playing with a certain level of give a damn. And Dustin, that is just, frankly, not something that we've seen with this team. And I don't want to say it's as bad as that, because it's not. Obviously, we just have higher hopes. We have higher expectations, higher aspirations. I mean, it is the burden of expectations with this team. Unfortunately, we went into the season thinking that they could make a Super Bowl run. And right now, as it stands right now, guys, we hold the number 3 overall pick in the upcoming draft. So it's just a shift in perspective. And I think we, Dustin, as podcasters and fans of this team, we have to be flexible in our expectations and our discussion and perspective as it pertains to this Cleveland Browns team.
Okay, that just disturbs me when I hear that. We have the 3rd pick at this point in the season, and we're 5 games in. That just really disturbs
Well, you know who
me.
has the number 2 pick? That would be Cincinnati. So the New England Patriots. Let me go through the top 10 picks as if the draft were tomorrow. We've got New England with number 1 overall pick, number 2 Cincinnati, 3 Cleveland, 4 is the Los Angeles Rams, 5 is Jacksonville, 6 Carolina. That's a surprise. Didn't think they would be all the way down there. I thought they'd be a little bit higher. 7 is Tennessee, 8 Miami, 9 is the New York Jets, and 10 is the Arizona Cardinals. So
think about that. Out of those 10 teams, tell me if I think I'm wrong. I think only half of those or less need a quarterback, though, right? Like, I mean, in the big scheme of things, like, I mean, Carolina feels like they got their person, right? At least that's what they're. You don't
No,
draft.
I don't think that's the case. No, I think the Bryce Young experiment in Carolina is very done. I mean,
Okay.
they were fielding trade calls, so I don't think. I think if they actually continued to lose, they very likely
They'll do
will
a
need a
reboot
quarterback.
again. A reboot
Yeah,
again.
they're going to get another quarterback. I do. I
I
think that.
mean, well, let me ask you this. I mean, say the Browns have the. We'll say the Browns turn it around a little bit and they end up with the 7th pick. We'll go down
Sure.
a little bit, because the season's what it is. Do the Browns take a quarterback in your opinion?
Probably. I mean, obviously, it depends who's
Or do
there.
they
I
not?
think you can.
Or do they not trade down and get 2 picks in the second round or in the first round? That's just
Well, I mean, it really depends at that point in the season. It's so hard to speculate right now on what this
Sure.
team is going to need. But let's just say, let's play a game. Let's play that the draft is tomorrow. Do the Browns need a quarterback? Yeah, the overwhelming answer is yes, they do. Who's going to be there? Well, you have your selection at number 3 overall. You probably have your selection of the following: 1, Quinn Ewers. He's probably going to be there at number 3. Jalen Milroe, Shador Sanders, Cam Ward. I don't. Gosh, I mean, Will Howard's not it. I mean, there's a couple of guys that are not it. Dylan Gabriel, Will Rogers, probably not. So, I mean, take your pick. Jalen Milroe, Shador Sanders, Quinn Ewers, Cam Ward. Kind of have your pick of those guys.
But
And that's if you're sitting at 3. So,
you see none of those guys like move me. You know, like a
well, I mean,
generational
I think it's
quarterback.
too early to say that. I think I would be very intrigued with Jalen Milroe. Very intrigued. He's a lot like Jaden Daniels, right? He's a lot like that mold.
What
Quinn
about
Ewers,
Sanders?
Sanders. I don't know. I think I'm not going to speculate right now. I think he would be interesting for a lot of reasons, but I also think that this team has dealt with some polarizing quarterbacks in the past. And I don't know that
Yeah, but I mean,
that is the answer right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's not like crazy. I mean, but yeah, you're right. He is Deion Sanders' son, so there is that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean,
With
guys,
all that,
it's still, we're going into week 6, right? Week 6, week 5, week 6 of the NFL. I know it's way too early to talk about this.
We should have this conversation mid-season, probably.
Right, but we played a quick game. If the draft was tomorrow, they definitely go quarterback, or maybe they go crazy. They go like Travis Hunter or something like that. I don't know. But yes, they will be drafting high unless they can package something and get a collection of picks. I don't know, or
let's
trade something to collect some assets. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, because I think there's the devil's advocate to this, right? If we have number 7 or 8 pick and it's obvious we need a quarterback, what do we do with our current situation? I think that's the elephant in the room. What would you do? Would a team explore a trade? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't even know with our situation.
I think it's 2 options. You have 2 options here. One is to write it out. I think almost everybody can say that's probably not the answer. It didn't work. It's not working unless there is a miraculous shift in the universe. It's not working right now without any change. Or you probably try to trade him. Very, very likely that doesn't happen because nobody wants to take that on, and understandably so. In that event, you have to cut your loss. The Browns have done it before. I'm sure they would do it again. Now, it's a pretty egregious, cap hit. You have to deal with that, just like Denver did. Identify that is not working. Cut your loss. Move forward. But that's it. I think your only options are stick with it or get rid of him. I mean, I don't know that you find a trade partner. I really, really don't.
Yeah, and I think if you stick with it, you're just kicking the can.
You're just kicking the can down the road. Mm-hmm.
Right. You're literally saying, hey,
you're elongating the problem.
Right. You're better off if you're going to keep this team together, the Miles and all those guys and your core as a team, and say, look, this ain't right. We're going to fix this. And you do that. But you're right. I mean, it's a $90 million dead cap hit.
Yeah, unless there's some significant shift in the universe and something happens and something changes and he wakes up and he is Deshaun Watson 2020, I think that a change needs to happen. I really do. I really, truly, honestly do. Especially, for a lot of reasons. 1, quarterback play. It's bad. It's very bad. 2, leadership. Gotta have a leader out there. And at this point in time, I like Jameis. Throw him out there. Let's see what we got. Let's give the
Yeah,
guys something to play for. That's
and I
somewhat
will say
motivation.
this. I will say this. They were ready to throw Deshaun under their bus last week because of him walking off the field, but there clearly was 12 men on the field. You know,
However, yes, there was. My only gripe about that is now we know the story. We know there was 12 men on the field. They weren't going to burn another timeout. They were going to take the penalty.
delay for the field goal.
We know that.
Yeah.
We know that was going to happen, and it showed Deshaun Watson just walking off the field. My gripe with that is I understand that they weren't going to take the timeout. However, there was no effort to correct the situation. There was still a moment in time where in that huddle you could say, Elijah, you are the odd man out. Get the hell off the field, or get vocal and show some kind of
Oh, right.
get out of here. It was
Yeah.
a matter of, okay, I identify the problem and let me walk to the sideline with my head hanging. That is my issue, where yes, we know the story now, and it really wasn't his fault. We know that. But as a leader of an organization or an offense or whatever, a leader of any capacity, I think it's still your responsibility to lead your team.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We got to make our picks. Dustin, before we get into that, tell our listeners about Western Reserve Distillers.
Yeah, Western Reserve Distillers, guys. We will be there in a couple weeks. You can get our wonderful Here We Go Brownies whiskeys out there. They're amazing. There's a 20-year, a couple other ones that are amazing. But they also released an 8-year and a 10-year reserve just recently. So go check that out. That's really cool. That's Western Reserves in Lakewood, Ohio, just west of downtown Cleveland. We'll be there in a couple weeks. We were there a couple weeks ago with Greg Williams, and he bought a bottle, Ali, and he signed it and he gave it away at his show. I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Cool.
by the way, it's really good whiskey, and Ali, you will attest. You have it in your house. It is really good whiskey, and I know you and David really much enjoy it.
That's true. I just had a cocktail before the show. Also want to give a shout out to our friends over at Believe Land Power Washing and Landscaping, and also snow removal. They will transform your outdoor space into a breathtaking oasis, serving the Northeast Ohio for over 4 years. Believe Land Landscaping and Snow Removal is your trusted partner for all of your landscaping, snow removal, and pressure washing needs. Okay, let's get into it. Dustin, last week, I got you again. So unfortunately, you are down. I am up 3-0-2 on the season. You are 0-3-2 on the season.
Okay,
so let's kick it off.
I am like the Cleveland Browns with picks right now. I got to get it in the win column here.
Gotta get it right. All right, let's start with Thursday night football. The 49ers at the Seahawks. Who are you taking? This is an interesting game.
Is McCaffrey back?
No.
And Seattle's at Niners? Or I'm sorry, at Seahawks? Niners at Seahawks?
It is at the Seahawks, yes.
God, it's tough because didn't the Giants go up there and beat them? Is that not correct?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't the Giants
go up and beat
the Seahawks? So they're kind of an upset, and I'm telling you, that's a tough place to win a football game. So hats off to the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go.
Who are you taking?
I'm gonna go Niners. I'm gonna
go with the Niners too. I think they get a win here. Jags at Bears.
Giants at Bears.
No, Jags at Bears. Jacksonville.
Bears.
You taking the Bears? All right, I'm going to take the Jags. I think the Jags stack a couple of wins here, but I'm going to take the Jags. Moving on, Bucks at Saints.
I'm going to go Bucks here because if I'm correct, did I not see that the Saints are making a change of quarterback, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Derek Carr with an oblique injury, so give me the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Commanders at Ravens. And yes. Sorry, James. I just saw your comment. Jags at Bears is in London. So it's not technically at Bears, but
right.
Yes, it is in London. Commanders at Ravens.
You know what? I'm going to go with the hot team right now. The Ravens are a little cocky. I'm going to go with the Commanders on the road in a squeaker. I'm going to go with Commanders. Because, by the way, this isn't even a road game for the Commanders. They're literally going down the freeway 20 miles? 18 miles?
If that.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I am going to take the Ravens in this one. Cardinals at Packers. Packers. I think the Packers. Colts at Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, I agree with that. Texans at Patriots.
New quarterback.
Yeah.
Defense plays well for the Texans. Give me the Texans on the road.
Give me the Texans on the road. I agree with you. Browns and Eagles.
Eagles.
Yes. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's both take the Eagles here because we haven't done that yet.
That's true.
And maybe that'll
Maybe we're gonna
prompt
change the
this
matrix.
Browns team. Okay, let's take the Eagles in this one. I agree with you. Chargers at Broncos.
Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Broncos
Okay.
on this one.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers here.
They're kind of evenly matched teams in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like the quarterback situation better in LA. Steelers at Raiders.
I think the Raiders, they're making a quarterback change too, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Steelers at Raiders, is that what you said?
Correct, yes.
I was there. It's a tough place to play. I think Raider Nation, as much as I hate to say it, comes in and beats the Steelers.
I don't know why you hate to say that because the Steelers losing is always a good thing for the Cleveland Browns. But I am going to take the Steelers here. I think they're a better team than the Raiders, and I just don't trust Aiden O'Connell at all. Falcons at Panthers.
Falcons.
Yeah, it's Kirktober. Give me the Falcons. Lions at Cowboys.
Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions here. Sunday Night Football, the Bengals at the Giants.
Giants.
Okay, I'm going to take the Bengals. I think the Bengals.
I think the Bengals are a grease fire. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I do
The
too.
Giants
But
are-
at least
the Giants
offensively, they're
The
producing.
Giants are coming off a big win in Seattle, so that's why I'm taking them. They got some momentum.
See, I think the Bengals coming off of a loss and the Giants coming off of a win. I'm going to project the Giants to kind of fall down, the Bengals to rise up, and Monday Night Football, the Bills at the Jets. Who do you got?
I think the Bills need to bounce back. I don't. Well, we talked about this in the office today, Ali. Here's the thing you get with the Jets: they could come out and lose by 40, or they'll be inspired and play for the new coach and play with their hair on fire. So,
Yeah.
I do like Buffalo on the road though to kind of get back to their ways. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Okay, I'm actually going to take the Jets here. What we have seen is under a new coach, teams have a quick resurgence and then they fall right back to where they were. So I'm going to take the Jets in this one. Also, before we wrap, a quick shout out to our friends over at Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market. Guys, inside, head down to Hartville. They have over 3 acres of indoor shopping, over 50 unique shops. It's fully heated and air conditioned, so you can go at any time of the year. Head outside to the outdoor flea market, which is over a 12-acre collector's paradise, over 1,000 vendors, open Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays year-round. So please be sure to go check them out over at our friends down in Hartville at the Marketplace and Flea Market.
You know what I was going to say about those guys? Good friend of the program, Ali. On October 26th, Browns legend, NFL Hall of Famer Joe Thomas will be down there for a meet and greet from noon to 2. You might tell your parents about that. It's kind of fun. But Joe Thomas will be down there in Hartville, noon to 2. So come down there. We will be down there. The show, I'll be down there live doing some stuff for Joe Thomas's coming back to Cleveland after being in Germany and doing all the great things that he's been doing over across the pond.
Yeah, most definitely. Before we wrap, Dustin, can't forget to give our friends over at the Barley House a shout out.
Yeah, guys, if you are downtown or in Cleveland tomorrow night, have some fun. The guys over at Come Get Some, Greg Williams, Super Bowl winning coach, but he was a quarterback. And also his son, Blake Williams, who was also a coach, will be down there doing some simulcast for Thursday night football. But more importantly, Thursday night football will be going on. And guess what's going to be going on at 6 o'clock on the other TV? A must-win game for your Cleveland Guardians. So tomorrow night is going to be a fun-packed night of watching Thursday night football. And the Guardians, 2 TVs ready to go. Got a lot going on tomorrow night.
There you go. There you have it, everybody. All right, Dustin, any closing thoughts as we wrap up on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
Yes. To all the people that are friends of this show or have family or anybody in Florida, my God, 2 weeks apart having to deal with horrific storms that are just going to batter that state. So just our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that is in Florida. Hopefully you got out safe if you were in harm's way, or if you are staying, please be safe with your family, because this is a very serious situation They believe one of the worst hurricanes in over 20 years to hit Florida. So
Yeah.
to all of our friends, be safe out there and get shelter. And, hopefully your home's not hurt or, your family's okay.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I even have family here. They evacuated from, excuse me, from Tampa and are here in Pensacola. We're safe here. But yes, our thoughts and prayers go to everybody that is impacted by this because it's not fun. If you've ever had to live through it, it's tough. This is a devastating one. So our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. Let's close with that. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.